It's gonna come help you. So welcome. We are talking about healthy brains today, and we all want to have healthy brains. What do y'all do to keep your brain healthy? Sleep? That's an excellent answer. That is an excellent answer. Okay, good. What else? Do you play any of those little brain games?
Yeah, sometimes
What ones do you play?
free
Oh,
ones.
Sudoku. Oh, that my brain will never be able to figure out Sudoku. But good, that's a good one.
Domino, cards, and mahjong every month.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, okay. So dominoes, cards, mahjong. Okay, those are great for your brain. The New York Times has free little games that you can do on your phone. My husband and I always do the one called Connections. That's a fun one. That makes you think outside the box a little bit. We do Wordle, which years and years everybody was doing Wordle, and I said I just can't handle the stress of Wordle. But where you have to just kind of guess the word, you have 6 tries. But to get with two of us, we're do okay. So I think that's a fun one. We do the little mini crossword. They started charging for the New York Times ones. Now we do the LA Times one of those. And I know John does some other New York Times ones. Spelling bee. Okay. Spelling bee. Okay. All right.
Like 7 letters, how many words do you use?
Oh, 7 letters, and then you pick how many words you can make out of that. Oh, I love those.
Those are fun.
Okay. Yeah, those are just fun and keep your brain going. We're going to talk about food, of course, today, but there's lots of other things, including like sleep and exercise and stress management and all the things that we do around here. So I'm glad to have you here. Thank you to everybody. And it's also, you're probably been celebrating already, National Nutrition Month. So their theme is discover the power of nutrition, which I think we do every time we're here. So yay. Oh, and so normally I put my recipe at the end, but today I thought I'll bring it up to the top because we all eating it, so we're talking about it. So this is called a dump and bake recipe. Like, a dump cake, but this is with healthier stuff. So it uses these little ramen noodles. You can use any ramen noodles you want, but these are the baked ones, not fried. They're gluten-free. They're made from millet and brown rice. I get a big bag of them at Costco normally, but today I haven't paid for the big membership where you can get into Costco at 9. So I can't get there till 10, and I wasn't going to get there in time. So I bought these at Rayleigh's and spent a bit of a premium, like 2.25 for each one. The recipe calls for 4 blocks. This is a big recipe. When I did it for practice, I just used 2 blocks and cut everything in half and ate it for like 3 or 4 days. So it does tend to make a lot. These don't, but they have millet and brown rice. Millet and brown rice. Now, the ramen that we all grew up with comes with a seasoning packet, which everybody says, don't eat the seasoning packet. The ones I get at Costco don't have a seasoning packet, but I noticed these little individual ones do. So I didn't use it because that's where all the sodium and I don't know, who knows what else is in it.
Probably sugar.
Yeah, probably sugar, probably everything. So all you do is take your little blocks, and ramen comes in little blocks. You put those blocks in the bottom of your casserole. Then you take about 4 cups of veggies, whatever you want, whatever you have in the fridge, and you throw them on top. When I practice this at home, I use frozen veggies, but I did not thaw them first. And they came out a bit mushy, and I didn't love it. So I didn't want to do that for you. So we cut up veggies, and I had great help from students today. And they cut up some veggies. We did peppers, we did carrots. There's also snow peas. And then so we put all the veggies in. Then you take the tofu and you put that on top. So it calls for super firm tofu. You can get whatever you want. If you get the regular, like one that says, firm or extra firm, you do need to squish the water out of it. The difference with the super firm tofu is that the water's already squished out of it. So we use that one today, but you don't have to use that as your protein. You could use a can of beans, you could use soy curls, you could use chicken if you're still eating meat, any of those things. In fact, you know what happened? I'll have to confess. When I made this, my husband cooked some salmon on the side, and that's what he had. since I don't do that. And he picked the tofu out, I believe. So then you make your own little broth. And you take just water and you add some sriracha, that's kind of like a little spicy red sauce, and some hoisin, which is an Asian little sauce, and some soy sauce. It calls for a lot of soy sauce. I used the low sodium, but when I made it at home, it was a little bland. So this time I used a low sodium vegetable broth instead of just water. So does it a little less bland than when I made it before? I know you don't know how it was. How is it? Is it bland? Do you feel like, oh, I need to add salt? To tell. Okay. Because then we sprinkled pepper on top of everything and we did some of that 21 seasoning salute from Trader Joe's, just a no salt seasoning. So we put all that on just to jazz it up a little and some ginger. So we put all that on top, put foil on it, cook it for about 20 minutes, and then you take it out, break up the noodles to make sure they're all getting sucked up because really they just have to be rehydrated. And then you put it back in for like 20 minutes. So do you think it was okay? Is it a keeper? It's nice because I like the dump idea where you just put whatever you have and anything you have in the fridge will be fine. So okay. And then Linda made an amazing blueberry cobbler that was just blueberries and some other fruits with oatmeal as the cobbler topping. So I've heard good things about that. I'm on Lent right now, so I can't have sweets. So it's very sad that I can't try that. But it looks great. Okay. So let's move on. All right. A few little tips from the Alzheimer's organization. Alzheimer's is the 7th leading cause of death in the US. And sometimes that can be misconstrued, I think, because sometimes people might go into the hospital for, I don't know, a heart attack. And so Alzheimer's might have been involved too in that, but they don't list Alzheimer's. So I don't know, it's up there. 1 in 3 seniors die with Alzheimer's or dementia. Oh my gosh, I think that's every year, more than breast cancer and prostate cancer combined. So, which is very sad. And I know we're all sitting here thinking, oh, we don't want to get that. We don't want to get that. And the good news is there's so much we can do to not get that. Yes, only 30% of dementia in general. Dementia is like the umbrella of mental illness. Dementia is, and Alzheimer's is just one of those. But only about 30% is genetic. 70% means we might have some control over it with our environment, with our lifestyle, with our food choices. More than 7 million Americans have Alzheimer's. Deaths from heart disease blessedly have been going down, but Alzheimer's are going up. But even though deaths from heart disease have been going down, it's still the #1 killer in US, men and women. And so since it's known that once a person has developed Alzheimer's, there's not a whole lot that can be done, even though I know they're working on medications and things. So prevention is the key. And so that's where we're at. We're in a good spot right now for prevention. Now, I've shown this little wheel before. This is what the Heart Association actually has, saying these are life's essential 8 lifestyle factors that help reduce your risk of getting heart disease or having a heart attack. Well, the thing is, the same thing works for our brain. So we've got the sleep, eating right, exercising, keeping blood sugars in good control. That's what that little drop of blood is. Keeping your weight in good control, keeping cholesterol, lipids or cholesterol good, keep your blood pressure good, and don't smoke. So not many people have succeeded in all of these. But the more we have of these, the more we do the right thing, the less chance we have of having a heart attack and helping our brain. So I think we just talked about this, but you got Alzheimer's is a specific brain disease. And most of dementia, 60 to 80% is dementia. But is Alzheimer's. Dementia is just the umbrella name of it all. And if you have trouble with memory, have trouble reasoning, or have trouble with your daily skills that you do, I know all of us, every time we lose our keys, we think, oh my gosh, it's starting. Right? But the thing is, it's not that. That might be just kind of normal, or you might have too many things on your brain. But if we say, I don't know what to do with this key, that's the problem. That's where we get into trouble. So there's lots of things we can do. So remember, 70% is up to us. So that means if we have high blood pressure, hypertension, we need to get it managed. Just like you do here. You get checked, you eat right, you exercise, you sleep, you do all those things. If you have diabetes, we need to get that under control too. If you have obesity or extra weight, we need to become a healthier weight. We don't have to get down to what we weighed in high school. We just need to get to a healthier weight and keep that off. That's the key. Is you lose that weight, even just 10% of your weight if you need to lose weight, and you keep it off. That's the thing. No smoking. Of course, there's never anything good about smoking. Cognitive inactivity. So this is a risk factor, meaning a low education level. So your brain over your lifespan maybe hasn't been stimulated as much as it could have been. Physical inactivity is a risk factor that I see y'all in here exercising, so I know that's not for you guys. Social isolation, though, can be a thing. And that's why I love our program, because now we have connectedness and we don't have social isolation. We have people here, and these are our people, and that makes it better. That reduces our risk. Depression can increase our risk, and hearing loss. You know, hearing loss is a tough one. I know my dad had dementia, and he also was losing his hearing. And losing your hearing can be so isolating. And then you try to fake it for a while, pretend like you really understand what those people said, or you just go, uh-huh, uh-huh. Or eventually you do isolate. So then that leads to the other issues here. So we want to make sure we're taking care of these things. Now, we might already have high blood pressure or diabetes. That's okay. We just manage them, and that reduces your risk of Alzheimer's right there.
Maybe the smoking was that mostly direct smoking, not secondhand smoke or even.
You know, I think it is mostly direct smoking, but secondhand smoke is not without its problems. You're absolutely right. And a lot of us, when we were growing up, we didn't know about this secondhand smoke thing, right? Our parents smoked in the car with us. They smoked in the living room with us after dinner. Everybody lit up. And so we want to get away from that, but we can affect our kids and our grandkids at this point. We know a lot more now.
It's interesting.
Yeah, you were right.
Hereditary.
About 30% is hereditary. So you're right. So these are modifiable. I mean, these are something we can do something about. But I think I have another slide actually that does mention alcohol. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
I would think,
Yeah.
What about medication interaction? Any connection to that?
I wish I could say I knew, but I don't. But you would think it would affect your mental capacity at some point. So you're right. And you know, sometimes I remember my dad, once he went to the pharmacy and got the wrong medicine. They gave him the wrong medicine and he was whacked out. But then we got the right one, it was okay. So I don't know that those have long-term effects, you know? But we should ask our doctor. Your doctor should always know all the medications and all the supplements you're taking so that they can make sure they're looking those up.
Your pharmacist is a good resource.
Your pharmacist is an excellent resource. So, I keep saying how this is all up to us now, which is a lot of pressure, I know. So what are the best eating styles for our brain? Well, what they say, they kind of compiled things and said, okay, these would be the best things for our brain. Anti-inflammatory foods. That's fruits and vegetables, whole grains. Inflammatory foods are usually animal products. So you'll see when it says less of these things, those are inflammatory foods. Foods that are low in saturated fats and trans fats, which is what we're trying to do. Where do you find saturated fats? It's a quiz. Saturated fat. Where do we find it? Animal foods. Butter. Lard. Cream cheese, excellent one. Yes. Whole dairy products. Yeah, I mean, you didn't want to say it. You didn't want to know. I know. But yeah, whole dairy products. Absolutely. Trans fats are usually found in our processed goods. They're getting rid of them, but you might find them, in a bag of chips and things like that, although they're really decreasing those a lot.
Candy.
Candy. You know, Sweets could, if it depends on what the sweet is. I would guess if it's a Snickers bar, you got the sugar and you got the fat. So maybe that would have some more saturated fat in it. Um, the best eating style for our brain also would be lower in calories to help maintain a healthy weight. So it's not starving ourselves, but it's eating in a way that would help maintain a healthy weight. It's super high in veggies and it's super high in fiber, all the stuff that we like to eat. Well, I like to eat and I like to make for you. It's low in animal products because those tend to be inflammatory. So animal products would be meat and cheese and dairy. One of my very good friends the other day just said, we were talking and she said, I don't eat meat when we talked about some steak place, but she eats chicken and fish. So she really does eat meat.
Mhm.
It's just a different kind. But that's okay. Whatever we do works. So high in spices, because a lot of our spices tend to have the chemicals in them that help with our brain health. So like cloves, ginger, rosemary, turmeric. We always hear about turmeric. And vitamin E rich foods. That's our nuts and seeds. So this is our healthy fats. Nuts, seeds, vegetable oils, greens are all good. So whatever we eat, we want to incorporate these things and decrease the things that are a little more inflammatory. And so there have been some different studies on eating styles. So one is Dr. Dean Ornish. Has everybody heard of him? He's the one back in the 90s who showed that we could actually reverse heart disease by diet and change our DNA a bit. That was a big thing from his. But he this was a few years ago, took on a big trial to see if Alzheimer's could be reversed by a lifestyle medicine program like he did with heart disease. So no drugs, no devices, no surgery. Um, this was what their slogan, I guess, for the study was: eat well, love more, stress less, move more. And so they had a whole food diet. It was low in fat, low in sugar. It was plant-based. They had some exercise. They had stress management. They had psychosocial support. And so just last year, the results came in. And what they found was that in the group that got that intervention, that plant-based diet, that they did have an improvement in their cognitive function and that their markers of Alzheimer's were improved, which means you look for plaque in your brain. They experienced a decrease in amyloid plaques, which is what we see when we see Alzheimer's. So it did seem that lifestyle changes helped with this. It was a plant-based diet, it was exercise, it was social support, and stress management can slow or even reverse the progression of Alzheimer's. Pretty awesome. And you know what? Those are all the things we do here. They're all the things we promote and that you can participate in here. So when in our brain, well, in our DNA, we have the little tips of our DNA are things I put the shoelaces because it's like the little tips of your shoelaces, and they're called telomeres. And these telomeres shorten as we age. And it's different. Like mine might shorten more than yours. Everybody's different. The shorter they become, the shorter our life. I happen to be reading a book on how not to age. So this is a big topic in that book. And so the shorter telomeres are associated with more dementia risk. And so here's my 70% control of the speed of the shortening to lead to dementia risk. 30% is genetics. So long telomeres were found when people ate, you guessed it, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, high fiber, and antioxidant rich foods. All the stuff we're talking about. The shorter telomeres were associated with processed meats. Here was the alcohol. I knew I had alcohol somewhere. Processed meats, alcohol, sodas, regular sugar sodas, not diet sodas, and fruits and beverages that have a lot of saturated fat or sugar. So if we want to keep our telomeres long, fruits, veggies, whole grains, nuts, and seeds, you know the drill. So here's just a picture. I've shown this one before. This is not our new pyramid, which I think is Alzheimer inducing. This one is fruits and vegetables. It's nuts and seeds. Beans and lentils are acting as our protein. Now, I know not everybody is into a whole fully plant-based. So if we're not, we would want to choose chicken or fish as our leanest meats. And then we have grains and starchy vegetables. Now, another diet that you'll hear, bless you, mentioned with Alzheimer is the MIND diet. This is a combination of the Mediterranean diet, which I know we've all heard about, and the DASH diet, which was a huge study in the 90s that showed people how to lower their blood pressure by eating fruits and vegetables and whole grains. It was not a plant-based diet. So they kind of combined those two to see how it affected Alzheimer's. And they found that 53% of the people who participated strictly followed the diet, and 35% of those did it like moderately well. And the thing why we even include that is because even the people who only did it moderately well had improvement in their Alzheimer's risk. So it's not eating all the processed stuff and the animal foods on the right, and it's eating and look, so they include fish. So you might all want to jump on this one. It's fruits and vegetables and greens and berries and all that stuff. So here it is more in a word. So they say have whole grains every day, have greens every day, have berries at least a couple times a week. I think we could even do better than that. Have nuts every day, beans at least every other day, and then they do include a little chicken and a little fish. They don't want you to take up drinking, but if you did, a little glass would be okay every day. I don't know. Sometimes I think when they do that, they're just giving in to peer pressure. Because I think the research really is clear that there's no amount of alcohol that's good for us. But I think they looked at these people, saw what they ate, and this improved their risk. So maybe that's why it's not alcohol isn't on my other list.
Tell people go ahead and drink. I mean, a lot of people drink.
Right.
So they want to get in there what's the least again.
That's true. You're right. So they're cutting back on the buttery and margarine spreads. They're cutting back on cheese and fried foods and fast foods. And this is what I think is a bit too generous, is pastries and sweets less than 5 times a week. I mean, most of us could do that, right? So I don't know, and especially if sugar is your thing, maybe try it just 5 times a week. Now, these portions are probably very, very small, so bear that in mind. But this is what the MIND diet is, in case you've heard about it. And every year whoever, the powers that be say, oh, what's the best diet? And it's usually the Mediterranean. And because that's a good one, everybody could follow that one. And you'll hear a lot more about the MIND diet too. They say Mediterranean and DASH. Okay. Oh, there we go. So here it is in words. Eat green leafies every day. Do you think you get enough green leafies? I know we try to shove them down your throat, but do you think spinach? Not every day. So it's just something to think about. Maybe that's
the week, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. And it's something sometimes we have to really work at. We have to really think about it. I don't always make it as a dish, but I'm a reheater of things, all my leftovers. Like when I reheat this dish, I put a bunch of spinach or kale in the bottom of my bowl and microwave it that way. That way, at least I get some greens. So you don't have to just always, I gotta cook greens for dinner. Although I think, John, where are you? John, we're going to do greens in a couple weeks, right? Green, yes, we got some ideas. Have berries as often as you can. That's why Linda made our blueberries. Have nuts and seeds. Now, nuts and seeds are super high in fat, so we do need to watch our portions of those. But this does give us the license to have some nuts and seeds. When I was just first a student or even just first a dietitian, we'd always say, oh, don't have too many nuts because they're not good for you. But, now we know they're so good for you, we need to have them. We just need to watch our portions. Beans or lentils, use heart healthy fats and the whole real fat as opposed to in a liquid form. Like eat the avocado more than avocado oil, and have olives instead of olive oil, and have nuts and things like that. And if you must, we could have some fish and lean poultry, take the skin off. But the plant-based in a lot of the studies has been the preferred way to go. And what we don't want to eat too much of, and tell me if this was a little checklist of things that you like to eat, see what you would be checking. Red meats, butter or stick margarine, cheese, pastries, fried foods, alcohol. Did you get many checks?
A few.
And isn't that good? Because now we have something we can focus on. So this is just another, I listen to all these podcasts and learn all these people. So the Shurzais are this couple who I love, and they seem to be the brain health gurus. They wrote this book, The 30-Day Alzheimer's Solution. I'm not suggesting you buy it. I haven't looked at it, but I like their concepts. I also like listening to them when they talk on things. They have a great podcast called Your Brain on Blank. So it could be Your Brain on Sweets, Your Brain on Ozempic. I just listened to that one. Your Brain on various things. And they're very interesting. So I feel confident listening to them and that the information I get is good.
Professional?
Uh-huh. Yeah, they're doctors. I'm sure that, yeah, MDs, they have all kinds of letters after their name. Yes, they are professionals. Thank you. That's a good question.
Question.
Yes.
I haven't seen pasta. Where does pasta?
That would be in with the whole grains. Like today, our noodles we had would be a whole grain because it was made from millet and brown rice. And if you're not into the whole grain pastas, then maybe, you might like some of the chickpea or lentil pastas, or you might just do white flour pasta. That's okay too. So those fit in there. Okay. So they have a little acronym. Oops, go away. That I love an acronym. So neuro is their acronym. So to help with your brain health, they say get good nutrition in, exercise, unwind or decrease stress, restorative sleep. Again, that sleep keeps coming up for everything, and optimize cognitive reserve and connections, meaning do your brain games and connect with people socially. Reading is excellent. Yes. And so their diet, what they recommend is all the things we've talked about. Green leafies, whole grains, seeds, beans, berries, nuts. Now, these are like every day they're saying these. Cruciferous veggies. Those are the ones that really can help with our brain health and our heart health. Broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower. Tea. So it's green, white, black, or oolong tea are good. And herbs and spices, at least a quarter teaspoon a day. I just listened to something about garlic and how that was good for your heart health and your brain health, and it was just 1 clove a day.
Well, I have a question for you. It says whole grain. If you eat brown wheat bread, is that whole? I eat sourdough, but
That's still a whole grain.
that's still
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So sourdough isn't really a whole grain, but it seems to affect people differently because it's got that fermentation process in there. And so it tends to not raise your blood sugar as much and things, but it's usually made with white flour, but it's still not a bad choice.
So is white bread a whole grain?
No, because it is a grain. They took that kernel of wheat and peeled everything off and had nice white fluffy flour underneath.
What's that like?
Dave's killer.
Whole wheat.
Whole wheat, excellent.
I like it.
Yeah, those have just been processed a little more. You're right, but they're good fiber foods, good rich foods. Did I see a hand over here too? No?
What about the bread with seeds?
Excellent. Yeah, having some seedy bread is good. We could also do that Ezekiel bread, that sprouted wheat bread. Those are all great. So here, if you don't get enough lists of things that are good for your brain, now Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine says, okay, here's some of their tips, and they're all plants. Is replace cow's milk, cheese, and yogurt with non-dairy things so we can reduce our saturated fat. That's one of the troubles with dairy is all the saturated fat. Replace your processed and red meat with protein from beans, tofu, soy curls, those kind of things. Aim for at least 2 servings of fruit and 3 servings of veggies. That's pretty standard for all of them. And those have antioxidants and fiber that help with our brain health. Get plenty of our B vitamins. And you're saying, what's in B vitamins? Okay, well, most everything we eat in the plant world has got B vitamins in it. Beans, lentils, asparagus, you could pick any vegetable you want. Walnuts, green leafies, grains, edamame are the soybeans, tofu, nuts, bananas, avocado. I'm not sure why they even just picked those because most any plant food we have has B vitamins in it. Get omega-3s every day. That's the kind of fat that tends to be good for our heart health and also our brain. So a tablespoon of chia, flax, or hemp seeds. Does anybody use those? Yeah. You know, I'd end up not doing it every day either because I only put it in my oatmeal. So I really need to branch out. Where do you use yours?
On my granola.
On your granola? Okay, good. How about you?
Oh.
Oatmeal? Okay. So the day I skip my oatmeal, I don't get it. So I really need to figure out how to work that in. Put it in a yogurt. Yeah, put it on a salad. You're right. Okay. And supplement with B12 if you're following a whole food plant-based diet, no animal products, because we don't get B12. Everybody okay with their B12 levels, things? Okay. So we want to, I know I say this over and over, get plenty of vegetables, get our greens, have vegetables at lunch and dinner. You know, when I used to do food logs when I worked, people would save up their veggies until dinner. And then it's hard to get all those 3 to 5 servings in at dinner. So spread them out through the day. And if you can give it, you get extra points if you can have it at breakfast too.
Spinach and those. I was gonna say eggs.
If we were having eggs or egg whites, we would put some spinach in it. But if we had scrambled tofu, we would do that. If we had a smoothie, we could put that if we did that for breakfast. If you did a savory oats, I put spinach in that. Fruits, we wouldn't have that every day. You guys, most everybody usually does well with fruits, but we're really pushing the berries here. How do you feel about your fruit intake? We doing okay? Now, berries, they're so expensive. I get the frozen, and I think that works just fine.
You got some quality control there too.
Yeah.
With the blueberries, sometimes they're awful.
Sometimes they are awful, and you just spent $6.99 for that little container. I know.
If you're a Costco shopper, it's a better deal on the berries.
It is.
Costco.
A lot of times that big 18-ounce one.
Berries.
Are they? You know, tell me about grocery outlet because I go there. It's very rarely, but people get the best deals. Like if we see blueberries there on sale, will they be there like all week, or do you have to grab it when you see it?
I think the best deal is probably on strawberries.
Really?
You know, like you'll get a big container
Uh-huh.
for like $3.99.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good.
Like the two.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and some of their other berries aren't as consistent or, they also have to get prices on that. Some of those things like.
Ah, okay. All right.
Like
Good.
big avocado,
Those big ones. Okay.
which I think get more. I don't know, I find sometimes the little ones,
Avocados can be very frustrating because you did just spend $1 or $2 depending on where you got it. And then you open it up and it doesn't look good inside, but it looked fine outside. That's frustrating. I find Costco is pretty consistent with good avocados for a good price. Okay, here's our whole grains. So, and our whole grain would be like whole wheat bread versus white bread. Cereal that's a high 5%. I'm not talking sugar smacks. I'm talking, you know, some oaty, wheaty cereal. You've got our cooked rice, brown rice, cooked pasta, cooked cereal like your oatmeals. The whole big grain, like you see all these pictures of these grains, those are the whole intact grain. Like there's probably farro in there and quinoa and brown rice. And we want to have that version as much as possible. And those can be kind of a pain because they take a while to cook. So make a lot and eat it all week.
Or freeze.
Or freeze.
Most of that freezes.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Choose your fats wisely. So we want to limit all that stuff on the left and choose the stuff on the right. But still watch our portions because it's still high in fat. But the oils and things, avocado, Nuts. I would also put over there our little seeds, our chia and hemp and flax seeds. Oh, I keep getting up there. Sorry about that. And we do want to make sure we're getting plenty of fluids, but we do not want sugary beverages. Do you all feel okay about your beverage choices? So, of course, water would be the best. We want to stay away from sodas as much as possible. Um, Stay away from those sugary drinks. There's our alcohol there. There's our Starbucks or Dutch Bros or wherever you frequent. So we want to be careful about those choices. And of course, tea is excellent choice. So then from the Alzheimer's Association, they say, okay, well, here's some ways to love your brain. And one is to challenge it. So that's where those little tests come in, or reading or whatever you like to do. Stay in school, meaning keep learning stuff. And I can see you all do it because you go come to all the lectures and you learn something new probably every week. Keep moving, protect your head, meaning that we don't want to fall off our bike because those concussions, and I think that was a big thing for my dad because he'd taken several falls off his bike. And so he'd had quite a few concussions. And so I think that might have driven him down that path. So be careful about your head. Stay smoke free, manage that diabetes, make sure your blood pressure is okay. It just says eat right. I guess they leave that up to you. But we know eating right would be more fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, or beans. Maintain a healthy weight. And remember, oh, that should say healthy. But remember, that doesn't have to be like what you ate in high school. If you need to lose weight, lose some, maybe 10%. That's where most of the research is. You lose 10% and you keep that off, you reduce your risk of a lot of issues. And sleep well. And if you have trouble sleeping, what do you do? What should we do about having trouble sleeping? What do you all do?
Want the truth?
Yeah, I do.
I have a prescription. Oh,
I'm asking for me
like,
because I've been having some trouble.
and
Going to bed, getting up at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And and I hate that now because I don't have to,
Right.
but I do think I sleep better when I do that.
Uh-huh. Okay, so consistent times, get it. And that's something I just listened to, it said even like on the weekend when you could sleep in, like if you work, you still get up at 6 or whatever you did. Uh-huh.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think that's one thing.
Mhm.
One of my problems, like, I can fall asleep, but then I will wake up sometimes and then I'm up for a while and it's just hard to then turn your brain off.
We should exchange numbers and just text each other. Listen to music. My sister listens to podcasts, and then when she wakes up like that. Yes.
You sleep or is that?
Not, I don't think there's been any science to back that up, but if it helps you, then it helps.
well, my medication, I tried all those things. Just wasn't having adequate sleep.
Uh-huh.
So they prescribe a very, very low dose of an antidepressant,
Mm-hmm.
and that works.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, so we could talk to our doctor about that. And of course, also, if we're having trouble sleeping, we need to make sure we get checked for sleep apnea, or because that could be the issue. So,
Sometimes that's what wakes you up.
yep, because you stopped breathing. Yes.
We have a question online. So this is from the Rileys. I was
Rileys.
years ago by my doctor to use ground flaxseed, not whole, for better absorption. Is
Yeah.
that
Oh, thank you for saying that because I often forget to say that. So he said he was told to use ground flax, and that is true. Our flax seeds are little tiny seeds, and they are full of fiber called lignans. And if we just eat the seed, we get more lignin than anything because it's hard to get to the omega-3 that's in those. So they do recommend grinding them or buy them ground. I buy the little seeds at the bins at Winco, keep them in the freezer, and then I have a little coffee grinder that I grind them up. So I just grind as I go. But yeah, we should grind them to get more access to the omega-3s. Thank you for saying that. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Because we all want to protect our brain, right? So we need to make a goal, maybe. You know, I do love my goals. So a smart goal would be specific and measurable and attainable and realistic and time bound, and maybe we'd have a reward. So maybe I will eat greens, very specific, measurable, 5 days a week. Is that attainable? Yeah, that's why I picked that goal. Is it realistic or relevant? Yeah, because I know I want to help my brain health, and I could do that for 4 weeks and see how I do. And then if I do it, what little reward do I get? Because most of our rewards are based on food. So what are so a reward might be I'm going to go out dancing, or I'll take a day trip, or I'll invite friends over. Or you know what one of my rewards often is a magazine. I just love magazines. I miss having all kinds of magazine subscriptions. So I will actually go buy a magazine and I can't look at it until I reach my goal. But we do want to just think about what you want to do. Have little goals, and then if you do it, and this might be just for 1 week. And then if I get it at the end of the week, then I make a new goal. So we can keep making changes and improving our brain health. And that's all I got for you. Anything else? Question? Yes?
This tea,
Yes.
is it best to be from brewing or is it on the shelf like Arizona tea, green tea okay, or is it more ones that you teas that you brew?
It's usually teas that you brew, but Arizona tea, it just adds a lot of sugar. So I think you could buy the tea already made, but don't add a bunch of sugar to it. And what I've been reading is don't add milk to it either. You know, because some people like milk in their tea, I hear.
So off the shelf, already made, this is unsweetened.
Unsweetened.
No sugar.
I think you still got the good green tea stuff in there if it's unsweetened. Yeah. You know, I haven't looked at Arizona iced teas in a long time. I used to love those. Yes.
There's actually new studies coming out that are linking like dental health and flossing to lower rates of Alzheimer's and dementia as well.
No.
Yeah, I think.
Uh-huh.
Different benefits.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we need to floss. Yeah, we don't need to just tell our dentist we floss. We really need to floss.
They know we know.
They know. But you know, oddly, my dentist, I have a problem with staining on my teeth. And so I quit drinking tea to get rid of the stain. So my Alzheimer's risk is going up right and left.
Oh, no. Needing welfare, if you're thinking about all of these things.
Yes,
You know, then you're gonna.
I know. You're right. Okay, so thank you. Let's go out there and make our brains healthy.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, good job.
Thanks. Hey, there you are.
Yeah. Just checking it out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good day.
You too. Good to see you.
See you too.